So, lads, today's game against the Wings was a bad one. A bad loss. Pissed at Stephanie White. I'm pissed at the referees. It was just a bad loss. It was a bad loss. However, today we're going to be talking about two of the really weird calls the referees made at the end of the game.
Aliyah Boston walked off the court fuming, and for good reason. The Indiana Fever had clawed back from 17 points down without Caitlin Clark and had the win right in their hands. But in the closing seconds, corrupt WNBA referees ripped it away.
Today, it's bad enough when you have the referees being so incompetent, so inconsistent, clearly calling things one way for a certain player and calling it another way for another player. Paige Beckers can land on somebody's foot, flagrant foul, 3 free throws and the ball back. Kelsey Mitchell can land on somebody's foot, just a common foul. Here, go take your free throws, and Dallas Wings will take the ball the other way.
Blown calls, blatant double standards, and one of the most controversial finishes of the season. And we have the full breakdown. Before we get to the call that left Boston furious and Fever fans livid, you need to see how this game spiraled into chaos, because the ending only made sense when you understood how much this team had already been fighting just to have a chance.
And of course, the other night we were sitting back watching the Dallas Wings game, and yes, no doubt, it was once again one of the worst officiated games you will ever see in your entire life. Should the Fever have lost to the Wings under any circumstance? No, not at home. And should the Fever ever in life had a 19-0 run put on them at home? Never in life. But that does not take away from the fact that I believe we have finally found a player in the league that's got a more special whistle than Asia Wilson.
Indiana entered this matchup with Dallas without a single one of their top 3 point guards. Caitlin Clark, out since July with a groin injury. Sydney Colson, torn ACL. Ari McDonald, broken foot. All season-ending injuries for Colson and McDonald. That meant the Fever had no natural ball handler, no one to absorb full court pressure, no one to run their offense the way it was built to run. The emergency solution? Shift Kelsey Mitchell out of her natural scoring role and into lead guard duties. And that meant every inbound, every set, and every trip up the court started with her. The result? 17 turnovers, converted into 27 Dallas points.
All I gotta say, Dallas, it's your 9th game of the season. Indiana won the series 3-1. They won it 3-1. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. All you had to do was, go 2-2 against a Fever team without Caitlin Clark. And you lost 3-1. You lost 3-1 to a Caitlin Clarkless Fever team. And it took them losing all of their point guards for you to win. It took the Fever losing every one of their point guards for you to win. That's what it took.
That's over a quarter of their offense gifted to the Wings before the Fever could even get set. But somehow, Indiana fought back. In the fourth quarter, the Fever exploded, outscoring Dallas 25-4. Kelsey Mitchell led the charge with 24 points, hitting 4 of 7 from deep.
Doesn't get the whistle. Indiana with numbers the other way. Mitchell in the corner. Timeout, Dallas. Frisco Clannis furious about the non-call on the Beckers attempted layup as Mitchell cashes in.
Sophie Cunningham played with edge, scoring 14 and diving for loose balls.
From Aisha Hines-Allen off the bench. Mitchell sprints into the lane, finds Cunningham. She got it on a 3, and it's a single-digit deficit.
How about the awareness of Kelsey Mitchell?
Chloe Beebe was perfect from 3, knocking down all 3 of her attempts in just 12 minutes.
Gets it back, 4 to shoot. Cunningham into the corner. Bibby. Chloe Bibby breathing life into Indiana at a time they're really struggling to score.
Even Aliyah Boston, battling constant contact in the paint, muscled her way to 14 points and kept the Fever's inside game alive when outside shots weren't falling.
Just seems like a perfect name for that, doesn't it?
It does. Boston on the follow, able to avoid the Geisel Suda.
Natasha Howard anchored the defense with a double-double and 3 blocks. By the final minute, Indiana had completely flipped the game. The crowd was on its feet. The momentum was theirs. And then, everything fell apart. With just 11.7 seconds left, Indiana trailed by 1. They secured a defensive rebound, and instead of calling their final timeout, they pushed the ball up the court. Mitchell, hounded by Dallas defenders, ended up taking a tightly contested jumper in transition. It missed. Dallas grabbed the rebound. Stephanie White finally called timeout, with 1.7 seconds remaining. Far too late to draw up anything meaningful.
They lost the game 81-80, and a lot of people's pointing fingers at none other than Stephanie White for pretty much not calling these timeouts, running the wrong lineup.
And the Fever still had a chance to win. Stephanie White threw it away. Stephanie White, like, I don't like Stephanie White. I just don't like Stephanie White. I can guarantee you this was meant to be some sort of learning experience. I just hate her so much. I hate the fact that she's our team's coach. I genuinely, I don't think Stephanie White's a bad coach.
After the game, White admitted, "I probably should have used it at the 3-second mark."
Did you consider a timeout earlier on that last trip? Did you like your last shot? What all went into that last?
No, I mean, I wanted us to. We knew it was going to be a low clock when we got it out, and we had been really good in transition. So and we were in the penalty. So I wanted us to outlet and attack in transition. When it got to the point where we didn't attack and we just started dribbling sideways, I probably should have used it at the 3-second mark instead of a little bit later. I thought Kels might have had a baseline drive. That she ended up coming back to the middle, and so I didn't like that. But I did want us to push in transition with a low clock and limited opportunity.
It was a rare moment of public accountability from a coach, but it didn't change the fact that this sequence cost them the game. And as bad as that was, it wasn't even the most controversial moment of the night. The calls, or lack of calls, down the stretch had Fever players and fans convinced this game was stolen. Call number 1. Aliyah Boston fought for position under the rim when the Dallas center clamped her arm. Instead of calling the hold, officials whistled Boston for the foul. On review, the call stood. Even broadcaster Rebecca Lobo said she expected it to be overturned, calling it about as clear as it gets.
So Leroux has 2 hands on Aliyah Boston's right arm. She then still has Aliyah Boston's right arm hooked. She's looking for it. Aliyah can't do anything with her right arm. She can't do anything with her right arm. It's being hooked by Leroux. Leroux turns. You can see, look at Aliyah's shoulder. Like, her shoulders is what it is. So as the ball's being passed in, Leroux still has her arm hooked. Yanks. Looks like she's trying to yank Aliyah Boston's arm out of her shoulder socket. The referee calls a foul early. Like, basically, the referee calls a foul because Leroux tries to yank Aliyah Boston's arm out of her shoulder socket. She tries to dislocate Aliyah Boston's shoulder, and it is called as an and one. As an and one. And they went to the monitor, and they're literally like, this is an obvious offensive foul. Rebecca Lobo and Ryan Rocourt were just like, yeah, this is an obvious offensive foul. It's obviously an offensive foul. Like, it's fine. Like, they just made the assumption.
Call number 2. Sophie Cunningham was given a flagrant foul for a landing space violation on Paige Beckers. The problem? Earlier in the game, Beckers had committed almost the exact same play and had her call upgraded to a flagrant.
Fever, former star at Indiana, as Beckers gets fouled from behind by Cunningham. And they will review whether or not this is a UConn much more of an equal opportunity offense. Here in the pro, she's going to be more of a focal point.
But when Kelsey Mitchell absorbed identical contact later, there was no whistle at all. Call number 3. In the final minute, Mitchell was held coming off the ball, exactly the kind of off-ball contact Fever players say happens to her on every possession. And still, nothing. After the game, Stephanie White didn't hold back. She told reporters, Boston is the worst officiated post player in the league. Mitchell is held or chucked on every freaking possession and never gets a call off the ball. If you're going to call it one way, call it both ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a physical game. You know, I think there's a double standard in how people get their calls. I think Kelsey Mitchell, number one, is held or chucked on every freaking possession and never gets a call off the ball. I think Aliyah Boston is the worst officiated post player in the league. She never gets a call. And you know, there's a double standard there, certainly. But you know, again, if it's going to be physical and you're gonna allow us to be physical, then allow both teams to be physical. If you're going to call the holds and you're going to call the chucks, and you're going to then call it both ways. So I mean, I think that we've been pretty consistent in what we're asking for.
The frustration boiled over. Cunningham was visibly upset after being shoved by Beckers, muttering an expletive before walking away. Even Caitlin Clark, sitting on the bench in street clothes, clapped sarcastically in the direction of referee Amy Bonner after the final buzzer. Boston stepped in during a tense exchange between White and an official, visibly angry, before Clark placed a calming hand on her coach. Afterward, Boston's post-game comments were short but telling. We need better focus.
I think the physicality level was a little bit different on both sides of the ball, and but for us, really, I think it's got to be our focus. Like, we got to make sure that we're connected on that end.
It was both a self-critique and a shot at the officiating. This wasn't just a loss, it was a robbery. Indiana overcame injuries, foul trouble, and turnovers, only to be beaten by inconsistent officiating. Dallas is a bottom three team expected to be playing for draft position, and the Fever needed this win to stabilize their playoff seeding. Instead, they slid to 6th place with only a handful of games left. One stolen game could be the difference between hosting a playoff series or hitting the road early. The league may or may not address the double standard in officiating, but one thing is clear. Boston's fury wasn't just about one game, it was about a pattern, and the Fever won't forget this. So what's your take? Should the WNBA review these officials? And did the Fever do enough to win despite the calls? If you're still watching, drop Rig WNBA in the comments so I know you stayed with us to the end.
We're back home, baby, let's go! Back in the W column. Well, I got the challenge. That's a big dub, baby! Point guard.
Lexi Hull didn't just have a good game, she went nuclear.
Lexi, that final three-pointer kind of felt like the perfect end of that night. Just, if you could just talk to me about the celebration, how much of a relief that was for you, just kind of to punctuate it like that.
Cole, one more three. Oh, what a sight for Lexi Hull.
We believe that every time she shoots it, it's going to go in. But for her to finally feel that and see that and play with so much confidence, it's big for us. When she knocks down shots, we're a different team.
Lexi Hull, though, the bucket and the foul.
The player who couldn't buy a bucket for weeks suddenly erupted, leading the Indiana Fever to humiliate Angel Reese's Chicago Sky. And here's the twist. They did it without Caitlin Clark and with no point guards available.
Like the Indiana Fever has defeated the Chicago Sky with only 9 damn players on the team. Game we seen tonight, Lexi Hull, MVP, bruh. I mean, she was hitting threes like it was no tomorrow. Now, she did have a scary incident in this game where she rolled her ankle and she had a little collision. I'm hoping everything is all right with her, but overall, Lexi Hull looked sensational.
So how did this shorthanded team pull off one of the most dominant wins of the season? The Fever's worst nightmare had already begun. Caitlin Clark was sidelined with quad and groin injuries since mid-July, with no return date in sight. Then, in the same game against Phoenix, disaster doubled down. Sydney Colson tore her ACL in the first quarter.
And here's the hustle right there. And as she comes down. Obviously, a really awkward when plant. She lands on that left.
Ari McDonald broke her foot in the fourth. 2-point guards. One night, both out for the season. The trade deadline had passed. No replacements could be signed. The Fever had 0 healthy point guards.
All right, who has the Fever's voodoo doll? Because this is getting out of control. It was just announced that Sid Colson and Ari McDonald are out for the season. Sid tore her ACL and Ari McDonald broke a bone in her right foot. The Fever cannot catch a break this season, and this is so heartbreaking for these two, especially Ari joining the team midway through the season, not even knowing if she was going to be playing in the W this season at all, being such a strong contributor to the team, and then Sid having that veteran leadership role, keeping the locker room fun and exciting. I mean, everyone loves Sid. And with these two out, the Indiana Fever officially do not have a point guard. We still have no timetable for Caitlin Clark's return, and at this point she has missed more games than she's even played. Sophie Cunningham can run the one, but she has been absolutely killing it from the wing, so I would hate to see them try to shuffle her around. And because of league rules, the Indiana Fever can't even sign a hardship player before tomorrow's game. So they currently have 9 players available with no point guard.
The Chicago Sky saw their chance. Winless against the Fever all season, this was their revenge game. Indiana came in wounded, undermanned, and vulnerable. Everything pointed to a Sky victory. But that's not what happened. Lexi Hull had been in a nightmare of her own. Her last 2 weeks? A brutal 2 for 25 from 3. Hesitating on open looks, confidence slipping away with every miss. Her mother hadn't seen her hit a 3 since the start of August. After the Phoenix loss, arguably her worst game of the season, Kelsey Mitchell pulled her aside. She told her, "We're counting on you every night." Fast forward to the Chicago game. Early in the first quarter, Hull stepped into her first three-pointer. The ball arced through the air and swished. Caitlin Clark, watching from the bench, jumped up in pure joy.
Hull open 3. Oh, what a sight for Alexi Hull. She has needed that one to drop.
Alexi Hull catching fire.
Celebrating like she had made the shot herself. That single make changed everything. Hull started hunting for shots, moving without the ball, making reads, playing free.
Colson out for the year with the ACL tear. Lexi Hull, though, the bucket and the foul. He's dealt with so much scoring adversity lately.
Yeah, terrific baseline execution. She comes off the curl.
She finished 4 for 6 from deep, with a season-high 17 points and a plus 22 plus-minus.
You know, her just adjusting to not starting games, coming off the bench.
Cunningham draws the defense. Hull rolls in the corner 3.
Tell you what, this Fever team is going to be very dangerous no matter the roster.
Oh, Lexi Hull, heat checking her napalm era right now.
Every make was celebrated like a championship moment. Aliyah Boston flashed the three-point sign. Sophie Cunningham wrapped Hull in a hug. Chicago had no idea they were witnessing a complete role reversal. With no point guards, Coach Stephanie White turned to Kelsey Mitchell. It was the first time since college she'd had to run an offense full-time. Mitchell's instincts have always been scorer first, but this time she sacrificed her own shots to set up teammates.
What a matchup between her and Boston, something I'm keeping my eye on.
Mitchell trying to go one-on-one after getting the handoff. Back to Boston, sets her feet, nails the jumper. Kelsey Mitchell will stay true to her natural position. She's been playing so well from there, but she will get some opportunities as she jets by the defender, jumps it off to Howard, and Howard for 2.
The result? A season-high 8 assists to go with her scoring. The adjustment wasn't instant. Early on, you could see her fighting the urge to take over offensively. But then it clicked. She started seeing passing lanes that weren't there before, threading the ball through traffic, setting up easy baskets.
She'll be tasked with defending Mitchell. Mitchell coming off the screen, trying to create some separation. 2 come, dumps it up to Boston, it trickles in.
When Chicago played her for the pass, she scored. When they guarded her shot, she found the open teammate. By the end of the game, Mitchell had proven something big. She could run an offense and still be lethal as a scorer.
Mitchell 2-on-1, it's a foot race. Mitchell to Cunningham, Cunningham right there for 2 more. Pointed out the fact that Indiana just 5 turnovers with no true point guard. Mitchell pipes in another triple.
Coach White has talked all season about bringing in quality human beings, players willing to sacrifice for the team. This game was proof. Lexi Hull broke her shooting slump. Kelsey Mitchell reinvented her role. Boston anchored the defense. Sophie Cunningham filled gaps everywhere. For the first time, the Fever didn't look like a team relying on one superstar. They looked like a playoff threat with multiple weapons, a group that could win ugly, win shorthanded, and win convincingly. Chicago thought they were catching Indiana at their weakest. Instead, they got run off the floor. Final score, 92-70, a 22-point blowout. 4th straight win over the Sky this season. For Lexi Hull, it was the redemption she desperately needed. For Mitchell, it was a career night as a facilitator. For the Fever, it was a statement. We are more than Caitlin Clark. This win was more than just a number in the standings. It was proof that the Fever have built something real, a culture where everyone knows their role and is willing to step up when it matters most. With Clark's return on the horizon, the Fever will have not just their superstar, but a supporting cast battle-tested through adversity. The WNBA just got its warning. This team is dangerous. If you're still watching, drop Team Fever in the comments to show your support for Lexi Hull's epic comeback. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more, and check out our next breakdown on the screen now.
I just think that it's like comparing apples and oranges. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
at least
they don't play the same position.
They like doing the like Magic and the Bird comparison. Well, they played similar positions. Like Bird, he played the guard position. Like they at least kind of match up. This, like, what are we doing? I'm not falling into that. I'm not into the comparison. I think that there are a number of things that Angel can improve on, will improve on in the situation she's in. And I think Caitlin Clark has done that even in her first year in terms of, you know, being able to be that floor general. Her and Aliyah, Boston's connection has really improved. And I think the thing about Caitlin, yes, she can shoot from the logo, but she makes her team better.
Candace Parker just crossed the WNBA's unspoken line, and now the anti-Caitlin mob is out for her. In a league where even praising Caitlin Clark can get you blacklisted, this legend isn't backing down.
When we talk about Caitlin Clark, the first time the NCAA game was on ABC was last year. So in order to give something a chance to succeed, don't bury it in NFL Sundays, give it a chance.
If you're here for the truth, drop a trophy emoji in the comments right now so Candace gets the flowers she deserves. Because what Candace just said, and what happened next, isn't just about one player. It's about the battle for the WNBA's future and why standing up for Caitlin Clark now means stepping into a firestorm.
This is Candace Parker, and there was a clip that she was on. She was on like a TV show. They're being asked about the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese rivalry, and as expected, Candace Parker, they have all turned on Candace Parker, and by they I mean, I don't know if they're Angel fans. I don't know. I don't know if they're Angel fans. I don't know how to describe them, because I'm like, I don't exactly know if they are Angel Reese fans or if they are just like bullies and want to just bully a 23-year-old from Iowa.
The fastest rising star in WNBA history, Caitlin Clark, is packing arenas, breaking records, and delivering TV ratings the league hasn't seen before. 4th in MVP voting. Rookie season assist record holder, Time Magazine Athlete of the Year.
She has surpassed everybody in the amount of time that she has played in the WNBA. She fills up every arena in every town that she goes to. Teams have to go to bigger arenas so that they can try to profit off the Caitlin Clark train coming to town. Most 20-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history, which I think you could say that's a good game. Like that's how you classify. Vandersloot, obviously, 430 games played, had 10 of them. Diana Taurasi, people talk about it as the GOAT, right?
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
You're damn right.
564. Where'd she go to school?
UConn.
Okay. 565 games played. She has 9 20-point, 10-assist games. And then Caitlin Clark, 41 games played. She already has 9 of them. And it's just like, it was very obvious whenever she was in college that she was different, you know, and she seemed to be more exciting than everybody else.
And yet she's still the most targeted player in the game. That's the reality Candace Parker stepped into, because in today's WNBA, there's an unwritten rule. If you praise Caitlin without immediately sprinkling in praise for every other player, you're suddenly part of the problem, and the mob is ready to pounce. Candace has been steady in her praise of Caitlin for months.
Observe your team and see where you can add. Like, Caitlin is one of those people that has a high IQ. So I know she's watching, and I know she's going to come back and make you all that much better. So it honestly is scary, because not only are you allowing other people to step up, but you're allowing Caitlin to then survey and realize how she can add. I said from the get-go, Indiana Fever, scary.
But this week, she didn't just defend Clark. She went straight at the critics pushing the better without Caitlin narrative. And that was enough to trigger a storm. ESPN themselves set the tone during All-Star coverage, skipping 2024 ratings comparisons entirely to avoid showing that without Caitlin on the floor, ratings dropped 36%. That wasn't an accident. It's part of a pattern. Downplay her impact, shift the focus, pretend she's not the reason fans are showing up.
All-Star game ratings from this past weekend was the second most watched WNBA All-Star game ever behind 2024. No surprise there. The 2025 WNBA All-Star game was the most watched program of the night across all of TV. The night, not the day. With 2.2 million average viewers, up 158% from the 2023 WNBA All-Star Game. This is very similar to the WNBA Draft, comparing it to 2023. Very similar to how they are presenting this graphic. We all know the most watched ever is because of Caitlin Clark, and we all know that the reason that it's up 158% from 2023 is because of Caitlin Clark.
But here's where things really caught fire. On live TV, Candace rated Caitlin Clark as A tier and Angel Reese as C tier. Her reasoning? To be in the top tier, you have to carry a team as a primary option, something Caitlin has already proven she can do. Angel, while an elite rebounder and strong brand builder, hasn't yet matched that level on the court.
What's up, fam? Candace Parker here. I'm gonna do a tier ranking of WNBA players. I'm gonna try. This is where it gets tricky. Caitlin Clark is at an A level. I think in time she's gonna raise up to that S, but in order to put her at that level, she gotta have a couple more years. So I'll put Kelsey Plum at the A level. Two-time champ, now took on the challenge to be #1 option in LA. I would say KP is definitely in that tier. Then you got Angel Reese. I put her right at that C level. I think in terms of being above, you have to be able to have the ability to carry a team, be a 1 or 2 option. I think Angel Reese is fantastic at her role, which is offensive rebounding. She showed and demonstrated so much growth in that first year.
The reaction was instant and brutal. Angels fans flooded social media accusing Candace of disrespect. Even Cheryl Swoops joined in with thinly veiled shots.
Ironically, Candace Parker is in a little bit of a hot seat right now.
Yeah, she probably shouldn't go to Chicago. You probably shouldn't send her back to Chicago. But go ahead, Jordan.
In this league, if you compliment Caitlin and don't elevate Angel alongside her, you're branded a hater. But Candace wasn't done. She came armed with receipts. The Fever are 8-5 with Caitlin in the lineup and 9-9 without her. Every time the better without Caitlin line comes up, the numbers bury it. She even dismantled ESPN analyst Carolyn Peck's claim that Indiana might be more dangerous without Caitlin by pointing out the obvious.
Look, I think that Indiana is even more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play because she's a ball-dominant guard. The ball's in her hands a lot, so you know what you need to try to take away. But when you look at Indiana now, they've got so many weapons. And Kelsey Mitchell is playing out of her mind.
Yes, others have stepped up in her absence, but adding Caitlin back only makes them better. That's not hating on anyone. That's common sense. And Candace didn't just hold her ground, she doubled down. When pressed, she asked point blank, "Who are you taking Angel Reese over? Paige Buchers, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, Aja Wilson, Caitlin Clark, Brianna Stewart? Number that doesn't make Angel a bad player. It's just the truth."
The facts that I want to bring to this table, and I challenge anybody to tell me, what player are you taking Angel Reese over of those that I just listed? But what I'm saying is, in what player, and this is no disrespect, these are the greatest players in the game right now. They asked me to rank the tier right now, and just from my point of view, from my opinion, this was the ranking. And so I ask again, are you taking Angel above Paige? Are you taking Angel above Arike? Are you taking Angel above Sabrina or Kelsey or Caitlin or Asia or Nafisa or Brianna? No, that does not make her a bad player.
But in today's WNBA climate, truth comes at a cost. And Candace knew exactly what would happen next. She then turned the spotlight on the players themselves. torching one of the worst All-Star Game performances in recent memory. After players wore Pay Us What You Owe Us shirts, the game that followed was flat, slow, and uninspired. Candace called it a missed opportunity, saying the product on the court should have matched the statement on the shirts.
I won't say All-Star games because the game, I'm going to be honest with you, Aliyah, it was awful. But
what do you mean?
The actual game? Are you kidding me? What you mean? What do I mean?
The vibes were high.
Leah, y'all, and hey, listen, I'm going to tell you, you don't have to say anything. So I'm going to preface, I'm going to be your vet. Don't say anything. But y'all cannot come out there with those shirts of pay us what you owe us. Pay us what you owe us. And then do that in the All-Star game. It wasn't the fact that you're doing something to prove why you have to be paid. I think it was just an opportunity to me on one of the biggest stages with those shirts being worn along with giving the product. Because I tried to watch the All-Star game, I'll be honest. But after one slow Euro step and people pulling up for I was like, I can't, I'm a fan of the WNBA and I can't watch this. So I just think that, no, you all didn't have to, but I think it was an opportunity that you could have built on like more momentum.
It was blunt, it was honest, and it was everything the mob didn't want to hear. Candace Parker isn't defending Caitlin Clark for clout. She's doing it because she understands the WNBA's growth depends on stars like Caitlin and on leaders willing to tell the truth even when it's unpopular. While others protect egos or avoid controversy, Candace is playing the long game. She knows that when Caitlin returns healthy, Indiana will be a legitimate contender. And when they're winning exciting games, the fans will show up by the millions. We've already seen it. When Caitlin came back against the Liberty, she delivered one of the most electric performances of the year, and millions tuned in to watch.
Bridge Fieldhouse logo. Caitlin shakes up Rebecca Tartner, driving right lane. Baker, good, plus a foul. Rebound, Fever. Cunningham got knocked to the floor. Caitlin pulls left wing, buries it. She is back. 24-18, Fever down. Caitlin down from the right wing, 30-plus feet. Good again. But Caitlin Clark. Sedantis, handoff. Caitlin from the logo, crosses over, launches. Oh my goodness! Are you kidding?
The most dynamic player in the game. 9 points in 38 seconds for Caitlin. She hit all 3 threes.
This is what leadership looks like. Checking your ego at the door. Standing up for what's right, even if it puts a target on your back. And refusing to bend to a mob more interested in short-term point scoring than the league's long-term success. Candace Parker is that leader, and the WNBA would be smart to listen. If you're still watching, drop a trophy emoji in the comments so Candace Parker gets the flowers she's earned. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next, because this fight isn't over.